We're in social studies, not science. Social studies, page 66. So last week we were talking about George Washington and how he was a brave man. He grew up in Virginia. And as he grew up in Virginia, he wanted to become a sailor, but instead he learned the outdoors and he became a soldier. His first war that he fought in was the French and Indian War. And then after that, as America began to grow, America no longer wanted to be under the control of England anymore, right? I told you the King of England often would make laws and rules that were unfair to the people in the colonies, and the king didn't even live in the colonies. So they wanted freedom. So a bunch of men gathered together on July 4th, 1776, George Washington included, and they wrote a letter called the Declaration of Independence, which declared their freedom from England. They sent the letter out to everyone in the colonies, letting them know that we were no longer under the control of England. The people were excited. And because of that day, we have the holiday July 4th that's celebrated every year, which is America's independence. But we're going to talk about this week what happens when England receives the letter, when the King of England receives the letter. How will he feel about it? Okay, Faith, 67.
With just declaring freedom did not make our country free. The King of England was not happy about the Declaration of Independence. England did not agree to set the colonies free, and the war from independence began. George Washington became the first general to lead the colonial army. He gave the soldiers courage to fight. It was a difficult war, but the American colonists were willing to die from their freedom.
Okay. All right. So, yes, they did declare their freedom from England. They wrote the letter. America was celebrating. It wasn't enough to declare America's freedom. Yes, they wrote the letter, but it would have been a lot more things they had to kind of go through before they would have actually become a free country. Of course, when the King of England received the letter, he was not happy about that at all. And he said, I am not letting the colonies go free. You will still listen to me, listen to my laws, and listen to my rules. And so America, or the colonies, was like, no, we don't want to be under England's control. England was like, yes. They kept going back and forth, and eventually a war began. A war began. The war was to see who would win, and whoever won, that would be determined if America was free or England would keep control. So this war was called the American War for Independence, and that's because America was fighting for their independence. So the war lasted a total of 6 years. They fought this war, very long time. So when it came time to pick a general, they chose George Washington. That's why I told you to stay in mind because that's why he's important. He was chosen as the first general to lead the colonial army. Okay. All right, let's speak about this. No? Okay, Kinley?
Many colonists decide this was free that they their children. Their twins. Finally, the colonists
Okay, so they had the war. Many colonists died during that time. You know, war is never a good thing at all. And so a lot of them died, but they fought bravely. And like I said, 6 years they fought in this war. Some people died, some people gave up, they went home, but they kept on fighting. Some people kept on fighting. They would often run out of money, so they couldn't get all the supplies that they needed. They fought during the winters. It was very hard. It was a tough war. And like I said, this went on for 6 years. They fought in this war. Okay, 67. So let's talk about what happens when those 6 years are finally up.
When the war was over, America was free from England. Some people thought that each other's colony should be its own country. Some thought the 13 colonies would become one country. A meeting took place in Philadelphia. Many men, including George Washington, went to the meeting. The men decided that each colony would become a state of all the states together, would then make one country, the United States of America. Who would be our new first president? George Washington was chosen. He was loved by everyone. Wherever he went, crowds cheered for him. He was our president for 8 years.
Okay, good. So the war is finally over after 6 years of fighting, and America won the war. So that means America is now what? They are now free. So after they became free from England, now they had the choice to decide on how they wanted to run the colonies now, the countries. Well, first thing is they decided that they didn't want to be called colonies anymore. They were like, we're not under the colonies. We're not colonists anymore. We now want to build our own country and do our own thing. So some people thought that each colony should become a different country, its own country. That didn't kind of work too well. Some of them thought that the 13 colonies should become one country altogether. At a meeting in Philadelphia, as we can see, Philadelphia seems to be an important meeting place, right? That's where they met to write the Declaration. And so a lot of people were there, including George Washington. And they decided together that they were going to be one country. All of the colonies together will be one, and they will call it the United States of America. That's why it's called the United States of America today. That's when they decided that. And so they decided that it would be better this way because they could be one country, there'll be one government, one strong unit together. They said if we all try to be separate, we'll all have different things going on, right? In each one of our colonies, and we don't want that. We want to be one solid country, one solid government together. So that's why they decided to become the United States of America. After this, they was like, we need a leader. We need a leader. And so they decided who would be the perfect person to be their leader. George Washington, who was the general that led them to victory in the battle. And so they decided George Washington would be perfect for this opportunity. And they selected him as the very first president. And he was president for 8 years. Okay, 68. No, the only one that didn't. 68, it was built after. All right. Oh. 68.
People often say Washington was first or first in the heart of the country. He was first in war because he became our first general in our fight for freedom. First in peace because he became our first president. And first in the hearts of his countrymen because he was loved by everyone.
Okay, so they say that George was first in war, first in peace, first in the hearts of our countrymen. They also call him the father of his country because he was the first president. And so he was president for 8 years, and he was one of the helps that helped America build into what we know America, well, to start the country off, right? Because as America decided to become, they needed a great leader to lead them into that, to make laws, to do all of that, and George Washington was that person. That's why our city's capital, Washington, D.C., is named after George Washington. Washington, D.C., right? So, yeah. Okay, so let's look at 69 and let's talk about two other things. Dennis, you want to read the top portion? Something to see? Huh? Okay, let me see you, man.
Yeah. In the 1880s, the Washington Monument was built in a memorial to the first president of the United States of America. You can visit the Washington Mountain in the Washington.
Okay, so in the 1880s, they built the Washington Monument, which is a memorial that was built to honor the first president, George Washington. You can see that in Washington, D.C. All right, and Avaya on the bottom, Washington's birthday. On 69 on the bottom.
February 22 is the birthday of our country's first president, George Washington. Most people celebrated his birthday on the third Monday in February. You might know this holiday as President's Day. On this special day, America celebrates all of the presidents who have led our country.
Okay, good. So February 22nd is the birthday of George Washington, our first president, right? And so most people celebrate his birthday on the third Monday in February. And that is an actual holiday on the calendar. The third Monday in February is called President's Day. And so it's actually on the calendar, President's Day. And so, well, and we don't celebrate at school so much, but like banks are closed, like the government places are usually closed for a holiday like that. And so like MLK was yesterday, we worked on the school. President's Day here is on February 20th. That will be a bonus test question. February 20th is the day that is the third Monday in February. Third Monday in February, that's when President's Day is this year, February 20th. Okay? All right. So yeah, so that's it, guys, on the end of, well, they have like 70, but that's extra. We may talk about that tomorrow. That won't be a test or anything. So excuse me. So yes, America did declare their freedom from England, but that was not enough, right? They needed to actually, they had to go to war. And so they went to war with one another. They fought in the American War for Independence, and they fought for 6 years. George Washington led the American army in the war. After 6 years, America won. They decided to become a country after this. Some people thought they should be their own separate countries. The colonies should turn into different countries. Some people thought that the colonies should become one. The colonies decided to become one country we know as the United States of America. They chose the first president, which was George Washington. And to honor George Washington, we can see the Washington Monument in D.C. Also, the name of the city, Washington, D.C., is named after him. And his birthday, which is called President's Day, is celebrated on the third Monday in February. It'll be February 20th this year. Okay, awesome. So guys, that's it for social studies. Let's go ahead and move on to our science. We'll be moving on to our science book, which are the habitats. But we're not going to go into our first habitat yet. We'll start our first habitat next week. This week, we'll just kind of do an introduction to it. Page 58. Okay, let me see that. Okay, 58. Coming. Yeah, yeah, I said earlier. All right, 58. Enjoying animal homes and their habitats. Okay, so that's what we're gonna discuss what it means by a habitat. What does that mean? All right, who read last? Avaya. Okay, Faith. Back to you. All right, so when God created everything in the world, in particular, He created all the animals for us to help and to enjoy, right? So as we discover the world He created, we're going to talk about the animals and the unique places that He gave each one, which means the special place, because all animals have a special place that they were designed to live in, which we call their habitat. Okay, so let's look at 59. Let's talk about a habitat and what it means when an animal lives in a specific habitat. Go ahead. When you're gonna what? So
fly the world, not the things, not living this case, kind of fly naturally. Also,
Okay. All right. So a home is a nice place to think about. We all have a home, right? Our home is where we go, sleep, eat, get comfortable, right? We're relaxed in our home, right? It also keeps us safe as well. Well, animals, their habitat is that same thing for them. It's their home. It's a place where they're safe, where they would be their best self, right? Where they will be able to survive as well. So whenever an animal has a certain habitat, there are 4 things that he has to have in order to survive in his habitat. He has to have water, space, food, and shelter. If any one of those things is missing, that animal will not be able to live in its habitat safely, comfortably, all of that. It has to have water, space, food, and shelter. Those 4 things are needed in order for an animal to live safely in their habitats. Of course, we know water because animals need water to drink, right? Of course. And some animals like fish, the ocean habitat, which we'll talk about next week, they live in the water. So of course, they need the water, right? Space. Animals that are really large, like in the savannah, which will cover that habitat, like giraffes and lions. They are large animals. Imagine those large animals trying to live in a pond habitat. That wouldn't work, right? They need a big space to live in. Think about food, right? We already know we survive off of food, animals survive off of food. If there is no food for the animal in their habitat, they will not survive. And then, of course, shelter. All the animals need somewhere to sleep, to lay down, to rest. And we'll talk about all 4 of those things in each habitat: the water, the food, the space, and the shelter. Those are the 4 things that an animal needs in order to survive in the habitat. If it doesn't have that, it will not survive. Page 60, let's talk about how the habitats are balanced. Soraya?
not so much of everything ready to change. I'm going to keep that. The food chain, a plant, not only also to keep it.
You should look what they are.
Predator prey. Predator
And make sure, see if it's done. If it's done, let me see it.
bigger pressure counts the food chains. Without the food chains, our world would be overrun with animals.
Okay. All right. So when God created the world, of course, he made enough, but not too much of everything. He did that by creating what's called a food chain. Have you heard of a food chain before? Yeah, no. So a food chain is God's way of keeping all of the habitats balanced. What that means is it's not too much of one animal or too little of another animal. It's going to be a perfect balance. Okay? So all food chains start with a plant. Okay? Starts with the plant. Every single food chain, it will start with the plant. Then a small animal will come and eat that plant. Then a bigger animal will come sometimes and eat that smaller animal. And that's how food chains work. In a food chain, you have two things. You have a predator and you have the prey. The predator is the one that is usually at the top of the food chain. That's who's hunting everything else, all the smaller animals and also the plants. That's a predator. So think of some animals. Which animals do you think would be predators? Think about it. Like they're eating the smaller animals. A tiger, of course. A killer whale. A shark. Lions, right? Bears. Yes, these are examples of animals that are predators. What that means is they are usually the ones hunting smaller animals, and usually no one is hunting them because they are predators. Then we have the prey. The prey are the animals that are being hunted, right? So what are some animals that are prey? Meaning the predators are hunting for them. Think about it. Fish, usually sharks are hunting or whales are eating the fish. Deers, bears are hunting deers. Any others y'all have that are examples of prey? Seals, the sharks are hunting seals. Nothing really hunts them.
Oh, I know fish.
The shark hunts the seal hunts the fish, and the fish hunts the crab.
Foxes, right? Foxes are usually hunted by bears. So yes, so all animals have a place on the food chain. They're either the prey or they're the predator. And God designed it that way so that the food chain could stay balanced. There's not so many of one animal and so little of another animal, but predators help keep the food chain balanced. Okay? Like I said, all food chains will start with the plant and eventually it grows into, like you'll see. So you can see the example right here. They have the plant, then the little shrimp comes and eat the plant, then a fish will eat the shrimp, then a seal will come and eat the fish, and then a shark will eat the seal, and the shark is at the top because no one's hunting sharks, right? There are no other animals in the ocean that are hunting sharks. That's why a shark will be the top of his food chain in the ocean habitat. So we'll talk about more of that next week when we move on to our ocean habitat. Okay, so these are the habitats. A habitat is a special place that God gave for an animal to live in. It's a special place that was designed for them. And a habitat has to have 4 things: food, shelter, water, and space in order for the animal to survive. If it's missing any of those things, the animal will not survive in that habitat. All habitats have what's called a food chain, which helps to keep it balanced. All food chains start with a plant, and all food chains have both predators and prey inside of the food chain. It just depends on which animal it is, where they will fall on the food chain. Okay? All right, so that's it for our science this week. We have our math, and then we'll be done. We've got a couple of things to cover in math. Oh, and reading. Well, let's do reading now, then math last. Reading, I think it was 105.
Yeah.
Page 105 in your reading, just trust him.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, page 105. Who read last? Naraya? All right, Carson 105, just trust him. Huh?
Like you or even her little room looks different. Even out the window, a woman said, husband, bride, about them on the floor. Here you go, then. You can out page this tomorrow. This time you take some trips out of the box. But he was still thinking. He was plans to go to a new school. In the morning, and her friends where we were back in May. When her dad came in with some more boxes, he saw Lindsay at face.
Okay. Oh man, look at that. Okay, so Lizzie, she's looking around her room. And so she's looking around her room. Why? It's because it's what? It's different than what? Her old room. So that means her family, they did what? They moved to where she is now. She's from Maine. Her old home in Maine, and so now she's in a new house. Okay. And so that where she can okay. So now, and what is she thinking about her new school?
That's what have to make you
Yeah, that she has
Can I
friends.
do this to
And so
listen?
she's a little concerned. Yes.
This to listen?
Huh? Oh, I thought somebody said something. Okay. Yes, and she was concerned about making new friends and how that would go for her. Okay, 106, Avaya.
I thought I had the page.
106 in your reading.
I know it is hard to move to a new place, Lizzie, she said. What was that verse I read to you this morning? I bless the man that trusts death in the Lord. That's right, Dad said. God will help you feel at home here soon. He may even help you make new friends. Just pray and trust him. Lizzie nodded and smiled at her dad. She hoped that God would do all those things.
Okay, so dad knew she was having difficulty, and how did he try to encourage her? By giving her what? He tried to, he wanted to give her a scripture, and he told her, what does she have to do? Just pray and trust God that everything will be okay. 107, faith.
Why don't we take a break and go explore, said Dad. Go with your brother and meet me on the porch.
There you are,
Lily smiled and ran to his gate.
Let us do both.
You just said 107. This was
Okay?
yeah, we read.
No, we didn't.
I didn't finish.
No, we didn't.
I didn't
Okay,
finish.
and so dad tells her to take a break from unpacking and to go and explore. To go and explore and take her brother with her. And so she was excited to do that. So then they see a fence and they were like, what is that over the fence? Let's see on 108, Kinley.
This one is, I thought we had the red.
I don't know what. None of this on this side.
Huh?
Page needs to be-
I am.
Some of these don't make sense. Fire, because I don't make sense.
Which one? Just 108.
What, yeah.
It looks like
There's more to circle in here. That's sloppy, and it's not capitalized.
it must be a sheep
I
farm
know you can finish it.
across the field.
Wrong. Do it again.
To face
You got wrong. Circle the verb.
them and wait his hat for them to come.
Some of these are wrong. Do it again.
Let's go. Let's go.
Circle the verb. You're not reading the direction.
Subject.
Okay, fair.
Stop at middle farm house. The man who ran his not the gate to be very fine and busy life. You might get in here. Still around you. And he said that I missed the my family wants to meet you too. Even though like all his wife children. Soon as Molly was woman came up on the house with two boys. One boy found to be the same age as maybe the other. Once again,
I'm not sure when you
age the but the boys and Tina took Lily and gave to the fish to pet the sheep. The sheep are so soft and it's fine. We did it.
I just read it.
The sheep are so soft.
Are you reading or just circling? Which one? Every time you rush on, make you go back and do it again. Start over again, because I know you didn't finish all the pages that I put a check on already. I know you didn't fix that page. Okay, so when they looked over the fence, what kind of animal was that they saw? And they realized that it was a farm. So they were excited and they were like, maybe we should go down. And then they see the man, Mr. Sanders, right? And who did he go and get to meet them?
His wife.
His family. He had 2 children. Were they the same age as Lizzie and her brother Gabe? Yep, they were like the same age. They not only were able to meet the family, but they also went to see the what? The sheep. All right, 109. Narayan.
The little lambs were eating softer, said Peter. Then they heard a happy bark and a black and brown dog came running from the barn. It ran up to Gabe and stood up on its back legs to lick Gabe's face. Gabe did and scratched Dog's ears.
Okay, so they were excited. They were touching the little baby lambs, right? They're having a good time. Okay, 110, Carson.
This is Roxy. She always has new friends. And then boys. And called from the port. Where they come into the barn. Let Roxy in the gate. Peter walked over and opened the gate. And then he went to open the barn door. When Roxy heard the gate open, her ears perked up and she ran inside. She knew exactly bring them in. Roxy! Peter called to the birds. Roxy ran around the sheep barking and the sheep started to move. Roxy ran one way and then the other one until she had changed.
Okay, so they meet the sheep, Roxy. Okay, and so Mr. Sanders called for them to bring the sheep in.
No, I can still hear them.
Huh?
I have
He called for them to bring the sheep in, right? And so Peter, Danny, they walk open the barn. They bring in Roxy. So they're seeing how they bring in their sheep. So that's a good thing for Lizzie and Gabe. They're seeing something different. Right?
Wait,
I need math before I even look at it.
two people going to the same.
Huh? What page?
111.
The sheep all the way into the barn. Gabe and Lizzie watched in wonder. They had never seen anything like it. Wow, that's a smart dog. Lizzie said Peter begging to tell her about other tricks Roxy could do. As they talked, Lizzie found out that both Danny and Peter would the sun was beginning to set when they started their walk home. Lizzie looked up at the golden sky and remembered what Dad said. She smiled to herself. God had helped her begin to feel like she was at home in this brand new place. He even helped her make some great new friends.
1 second. So they put the sheep in the barn, and Lizzie and Gabe were amazed because they had never seen anything like that before. So they were super amazed at that, right? And so after this, they were excited, and they had found out that they would be going to school with the boys, and so they were happy. And so how does Lizzie feel now? She feels a little more encouraged now about going to, right? She feels a lot better now. Okay. All right, good. So that's it for reading. All right, let's cover our math.
Stop.
Gonna get started. We're just gonna cover a couple of things on the board. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about expanded form. So 617, how would I write that in expanded form? Okay. 600 plus 10 plus 7. Okay, 324, how do I write that in expanded form? 300 plus 20 plus 2. All right, guys, you may need a little sleep paper real quick. 6 dimes, 4 pennies. All right. Okay, 6 dimes, 4 pennies. So, all right, guys. Okay, how much money would it be? Mariah, how much? 6 dimes and 4 pennies? Okay, yeah, 80. All right, come show me the 2 ways I can write 80. Remember we learned that last week. She come and do it. Mariah, she answered it. What? Books in the middle. You tore that book again? That's the second book that you didn't take care of. That's why I gave you one last time. Because look at what you're doing to the book. I give you a new book today. You're not taking care of books. You did the other one like that. The other one ain't come separately. Well, because they only have 3. Okay, let's see. Yep, we put it 80 cents or 0.80. Good. Next amount, we have 4 dimes, 2 nickels, 5 pennies. Dennis not even here. No, he not. That was a lie.
Oh,
All right, so you have your new book, Stepping Stones. This is our new book. Okay. All right. So this is our new book. We're moving on to
Recording in progress.
Stepping Stones. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's open up. On page 2. Stepping Stones. All right, so 4 dimes, 2 nickels, 5 pennies. How much?
55.
I wasn't even talking to you. How much you got? Okay, 40, 45, 50, 55. Show us the 2 ways to write 55. Okay, good. 55, missing my set symbol. Okay,
He died.
okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and practice our subtraction. So before I explain, I want to see if you remember how to do these.
Oh, yeah.
All right, first one, Carson, come work it out for us. 43 minus 29. Let's see. Abaya, you'll do the second one for us. You can't say 9 minus 3 is no, yeah. Okay, so remember, guys, when your top number is smaller than your bottom, you cannot subtract that. You can't do 9 minus 3. You can't do that. It's 3 minus 9. If it's not possible, that's when we do what's called trading. We take 10 from 4, it becomes 33. We add that 10 to 3, it becomes 13. So then 13, we made the top number big enough to subtract. So 13 minus 9 is 4. Then we do 3 minus 2 is 1, 14. All right. Avaya, next one. 82 minus 57.
2 minus 7 equals 5.
Okay, no, it's not correct. I cannot take 7 out of 5. If I only have 2, there's no way possible for me to take 7. Again, if your top number is smaller than your bottom, there's no way possible to take this. Is that how you were subtracting it or no? No? So what did you do to get 5?
What I did was what I did
Uh-huh.
was so I can't take away I can't take away 80. I don't really remember.
Okay. Can someone help us out with subtracting this one, Ryan, and explain it to us as you do it? Yeah. All right, Naraya, walk us through how to subtract. Talk loud enough.
I can't take 2 out of 7 out of 2.
Okay. All right. All right. So we have 2 minus 7. Can't do that. No, I need to trade. I need to take, not trade, I'm sorry, I need to borrow. I need to take 10 from this 82. It becomes 72. Add that 10 to 2, it becomes 12. 12 minus 7 is 5, and then 7 minus 5 is 2, 25. All right, last one, 61 minus 39. Go ahead and take it. So you need to take 10 from 61. So you start at the 6. No, like come on. Take 10 away from it, it becomes 51 for the 5. Now you're adding the 10 to this one, it becomes 11.
It's true. 22.
Okay, so 11 minus 2, 5 minus 3, yep. All right, so I think for practice, let's do a couple more. I think we could, yeah, I think we could use it a little bit. Oh, yeah. All right, let's do a couple more. Okay, Carson, come try this one. So we have 4 minus 8. Can't do that. So I need a trade. I take 10 from 74, becomes 64. Add the 10 to 14. I mean, 4 becomes 14. 14 minus 8. Can you subtract that again? You got it right. Just the subtract. 14 minus 8. Do that again. Wait, so what is it? 6. 6. Yep. So 14 minus 8 is 6. Answer is 36. Good. 90 minus 6. Okay, so try this one. Bye. You do our last one. All right, so we have 90 minus 62, 0 minus 2. We cannot do that, so we take 10 from 9, but it doesn't become 90 again. It becomes 80. You're taking 10 away, so you're losing 10. 80, add your 10 to 10, which you did. 10 minus 2 is 8, but then 8 minus 6 is 2. Avaya, do our last one for us. 38 minus 12.
Tomorrow morning. And
Eight.
how long will it take
8 minus 2
Uh-huh.
equals 6.
Okay.
You said 2 or 3.
3 minus 1 equals 2.
Good. This one did not require trading borrowing because it was easy to subtract. All right, good. All right, guys. So that's it for the end of our Zoom. We'll practice some more subtraction. We're also introducing multiplication on tomorrow. So, yep. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.